Hello everyone, I am Alea Eunice G. Clardat.
I am Jenny Humaran.
I am Shalami Ingay Villarmente.
I'm Russell Jane Bibanda.
I'm Missy M. Gakang.
I am Rhea Alfaro Camarillo.
And we are the Group 2.
In our subject STS, we are now in the chapter 1 and we were assigned to discuss to you the lesson 3, which is the government laws, policies, plans, and projects pertaining to STS. Under here, we have two major points to be discussed. One is the STS environment from 1986 to 2016. Under here, we will tackle the Fifth Republic. The second major point is the government policies and laws pertaining to STS. Under here, we will share to you some of the major government, department, and institutes and discuss their policies, programs, and projects pertaining to STS, which are also aligned to our national goals and plans, international treaties, legal frameworks are the law, and the priorities for the S&T development. Our goals for this discussion are: first, we will be able to recognize the policies, programs, and projects done by the government. Second is to examine the importance of the laws pertaining to STS. And lastly, to appreciate the major contributors in the development of STS under the Fifth Republic. Now, let's begin. Years after the country's colonization, science and technology became one of the bases of socio-economic progress and became a widespread concern globally. That is why the science and technology development in the country have been given a major support by the government during the Fifth Republic from the year 1986 to 2016, which covers 5 administrations. The world's eye was on the Philippines when almost a decade of dictatorship of Marcos was overturned by an EDSA People Power revolution. Corazon Aquino succeeded to be the Philippine president on February 25, 1986 and faced the economic and political problem of the country. In 1990, she mentioned during her SONA that S&T development must be part of the top 3 priorities of the government for economic recovery. During this time, the NSTA was replaced by the DOST. Her goal is to make the Philippines as an industrialized country by 2000, but the Congress didn't put much priority in her concern. Next in her rule was Fidel Ramos. He introduced laws and giving incentives to inventors and science and technology scholarships. At 1998, the Philippines gave rise to thousands of competent scientists and engineers, which resulted in the building of the 2 Philippine science high schools in Visayas and in Mindanao, granting scholarships for students who were taking up professions related to science and technology. Schools were becoming more modernized and updated with the addition of high-tech equipment and different training programs, while the healthcare services were promoted through local programs such as Doctors to the Barrio program. Ramos was succeeded by Joseph Estrada in 1998. He signed 2 legislations related to science and technology. One is the Philippine Clean Air Act, which aims to protect and preserve the environment and ensure the sustainable development of its natural resources. 2 is the Electronic Commerce Act of 2000, which outlaws computer hacking and provides opportunities for new businesses emerging from the internet-driven new economy. But since his term didn't last long, he was impeached on November 12, 2000, and Gloria Arroyo, the vice president, succeeded his position on the same day. It was during her administration that the Philippines experienced the golden age of science and technology. She adopted policies focusing on national innovation system and promoted technological entrepreneurship. Numerous of laws and projects related to science and technology were pushed through during her term. The RA 10055, or the Philippine Technology Transfer Act of 2009, and the RA 9367, known as the Biofuels Act, were established. June 30, 2010, Benigno Aquino III seated as the President of the Philippines. He established the DICT, an institution responsible for planning, development, and promotion of the country's information and communication technology agenda in support of the national development.
Now let's move on to the government policies and laws pertaining to STS. The Philippine government introduced and implemented several programs projects, and policies to boost the area of science and technology. First on the list, we have the National Research Council of the Philippines, or also known as the NCRP, consulted various sectors in the society to study how the Philippines can prepare itself in meeting the Asian 2015 goals. As a result of the consultation, the NCRP is expected to recommend policies and programs that will improve the competitiveness of the Philippines in the Asian region. The NCRP clustered these policies into four, namely, number one, social sciences, humanities education, international policies, and governance. The program and project under here are integrating Asian awareness in basic education without adding to the curriculum, emphasizing teaching in the mother tongue, developing school infrastructure, and providing for ICT broadband, and lastly, local food security. The second cluster is the physics, engineering, and industrial research, earth and space science, and mathematics. The program and projects under here are emphasizing degrees, license, and employment opportunities, harnessing science and technology as an independent mover of development. The third is the medical, chemical, and pharmaceutical sciences. The program and project under here are ensuring compliance of drug manufacture firms with Asian harmonized standard by full implementation of Food and Drugs Administration. And lastly, biological sciences, agriculture, and forestry. The program under here are protecting the conservative biodiversity by full implementation of existing laws and use biosafety and standard model by Asian countries.
There are also other existing programs supported by the Philippine government through the DOST. Some of these projects are the following. First are the government fund basic and applied researches. Funding of this research and projects are also from the Overseas Development Aid or ODA from different countries. And the Balik Scientist Program is also part of it to encourage Filipino scientists abroad to come home and work in the Philippines or conduct research and projects in collaboration with Philippine-based scientists. Last but not the least, this aims to develop more science and technology and engineering manpower resource needed by the country. Another agency is the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering, identified several capacity building programs such as manpower and institutional development programs to produce more PhD graduates in science and technology. The second is to support specific industries that will lead the country in different research and development areas. Lastly, strengthen science education at an early stage through the Philippine Science High School system. In the field of education, several science-related programs and projects were created to develop the scientific literacy of the country with the help also of DepEd and CHED. Aside from this, science and mathematics in basic education were continuously improved. The current K-12 education program included STEM as one of its major tracks in the senior high school programs to encourage more students to enroll in the related field in college.
We also need to understand that the development of policies in science and technology is influenced by several variables. Now, let's bring them one by one. National goals and major plans of science and development. The main goal of STS is to prepare the whole country and its people to meet the demand of a technologically driven world and capacitate the people to live in a world driven by science. Because of this, science and technology development have these major plans. First, Science and Technology Master Plan. This plan shows the direction and desired goals of Philippine science and technology for both public and private sectors. Second, Science and Technology Agenda for National Development. This plan was initiated during the term of President Ramos, and it was identified the 7 export winners, domestic needs, other supporting industries, and coconut industry as priority investment area. Lastly, National Science and Technology Plan. The DOST, with the mandate of formulating science and technology policies, programs, and projects in support of national development priorities, has remained, driven by this guiding vision stated in the NSTP mainly. By 2004, science and technology shall have contributed significantly to the enhancement of national productivity and competitiveness and to the solution of pressing problems. By 2020, the Philippines shall have earned niches and become a world-class knowledge provider and user-selected science and technology areas and shall have developed in vibrant science and technology culture. Lastly, by 2020, the Philippines shall have developed a wide range of globally competitive products and services which have a high technological content.
The Philippine Congress has also created various laws related to science and technology. These laws serve as a legal framework for science and technology in the country. These laws vary according to different themes such as conservation, health-related, technology building, and supporting basic research, among others. Some of them were already mentioned earlier, so here are the others that follows. Republic Act 2067, Science Act of 1958, an act to integrate, coordinate, and intensify scientific and technological research and development, and to foster invention to provide funds, therefore and for other purposes. Presidential Decree Number 49, Series 1972, established the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services, which is PAG-ASA. Its function was to provide environmental protections and to utilize scientific knowledge to ensure the safety of the people. Next, Presidential Decree Number 334, Series 1973, created the Philippines National Oil Company to promote industrial and economic development through effective and efficient use of energy resources. Next, Republic Act 9513, the Renewable Act of 2008, was passed by Congress to accelerate the development of the country's renewable energy resources by providing fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to private investors and equipment manufacturers, fabricators, or suppliers.
Take note that some laws and policies are in line with international treaties such as the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and other international agencies. There are many other areas and fields that the country is looking forward to embarking various research and projects and to respond the various social needs, issues, and problems. These are the following: agriculture, forestry and natural resources, health medical service, biotechnology, information and communication technology, microelectronics, materials, science and engineering, earth and marine service, fisheries and aquaculture, environment, natural disaster migration, energy, and manufacturing and service engineering. Science and technology policies ensure that the whole country and all people will experience the progress that science can bring. Policies are guides to direct all efforts to a goal of developing a scientifically advanced country.